Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I'm actually recording this on Valentine's Day, and I think I'm going to release it a day early. I had every intention, actually, of releasing this episode a little bit earlier, but I dropped the ball. But here we are recording and making it happen. So normally episodes come out on Tuesday. I have a feeling I'll be able to get this out by the end of day today, which is Monday, Valentine's Day. And the reason being is because tomorrow, February 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I am hosting my very first virtual self-love book club where we are reviewing my book, Once Upon a Diet. I am so excited. And if you have not read Once Upon a Diet, you can still read it really quickly or even just get it started. You don't have to have it completely finished, although that would be ideal so you can participate, from beginning to end. But as long as you just have a couple chapters in, even if you want to download the Audible version really quick, highly suggest that you do that so that you can participate because obviously, the recording will be available. The recording will be available for anyone who can't attend live, but it's a discussion. It's a book club, right? So you're going to get more out of it if you participate in it. And, so if you can make it there, definitely make it. The link is in the show notes. Self-Love Book Club, reviewing my number one best-selling book that's on Amazon. Tomorrow, Tuesday, February 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I understand that you probably might be listening to this after the fact. If that's the case, then just email me, tipswithtony@gmail.com, or message me on Instagram at tips_with_Tony with an I, and I can probably send you that recording. But make sure you purchase your book on Amazon. There's a Kindle version, there is a audio version, and then obviously the paperback. So the paperback might be hard for you to get shipped to you and read within 24 hours, but Amazon is super, super quick, and it is definitely worth it. So that is why I wanted to release a little bit early. Also, just today's topic in general is all about knowing your love language. And I just talked about a self-love book club, right? So this is for anyone, whether you're in a relationship or not. I think it's kind of crazy that we don't really learn about love languages, at least I didn't, or I didn't really hear about them or make them like something really that you're more aware of until I was in a relationship. It comes up then, but the reality is that you need to know your love language, whether you're in a relationship or not, and you are fully 110% capable of showing yourself love and speaking in your own love language. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So it's important that if you are in a relationship, that you communicate with your partner because your love language and their love language are very different. So if you think that you're showing them love in the way in which you receive it, and they're not finding it to be they're not really reciprocating it, or they're not finding it to be helpful, or they feel like, oh, it doesn't seem like you love me, it's because you're not talking in their love language. And I'm going to explain what that is in a little bit. So the 5 love languages was created by a guy named Gary Chapman. And Gary I think he was a psychologist, and he basically was talking about how to express heartfelt commitment to your partner. But I actually was listening to another podcast recently who did a very similar had a very similar conversation about this, about how even though whether you're with a partner or not, it's still important to know your love language, right? Because like I said, you could show yourself love. And also too, if you can communicate what that is even before you get into a relationship, that's even better, right? Or even in the beginning stages. Because in the beginning, as you guys know, I talk about it a lot in my book, Once Upon a Diet, that honeymoon phase, it's where things are exciting and there's the chemistry there, right? But we know that a real long-term relationship takes more than just chemistry, right? It takes compatibility, it takes communication, it takes commitment, the 3 C's, right? By the way, I almost did my TEDx talk about like the 3 C's, but it just didn't make the cut. But either way, super, super excited actually to talk about this episode because I did recently also, and I'm not one to, it's like when you're in the middle of a situation, it's a lot harder to talk about than when you're kind of past it. So a few months ago, I made it public and I let people know that Bruce and I, my current boyfriend, have been going kind of at a crossroads, to be honest. A lot of things that I don't feel comfortable talking about right now and may never, but also just so you know, people, even happy couples, even people who you think it's your person, right? You're like madly in love. You thought you found the one. Even those relationships take work. They're hard. They're not easy, right? You have two imperfect people trying to make something out of their imperfect relationship become, amazing and joyful, right? So, with that said, it's been a little bit hard, but we are definitely working through it, and we are doing a lot of our own work individually and then trying to work on things together. And one of those big conversations that we've been having is it's very obvious that we have not been speaking in each other's love languages at all. We're speaking in our own love languages to each other, if that makes sense. So I'll explain a little bit more about what the love languages are. So maybe you can, if you're not familiar with them, you can kind of follow along a bit and understand what I'm saying. So the 5 love languages are acts of service, receiving gifts, words of affirmation, physical touch, and quality time, right? So I'm going to go through each of them individually, kind of give examples, and show why it's important for you to know what yours is, whether you're in a relationship or not. All right. So the first one is acts of service. We'll start easy because that's mine. Like hands down, my love language is acts of service. So when Bruce does the dishes, when he takes out the garbage, when he decides to spontaneously cook dinner, when here's an example, he might bring me Starbucks, for example. And that you would think is like giving gifts, right? Receiving gifts. And that makes me happy. But no, it's like, so I don't have to now make coffee, or I don't have to go get it myself, right? So, or even like, and this is also a way for acts of service that you can treat yourself, whether you're in a relationship or not. When my cleaning lady comes, my entire world is better. Like before I was in a relationship, I always had a cleaning lady because I don't like cleaning. I'm not good at it. I have to really be in the mood. And listen, I've been working at it, and yeah, I can become a better cleaner. And like, yes, I do it, but she does it 1,000 times better. And it's one less thing now that I have to do. So that's how I treat myself, by having that sort of act of service, right? Another example that might seem like receiving gifts in acts of service can be similar is every year for Christmas or my birthday, I usually ask for a pair of sneakers. The gift is not that I'm getting the pair of sneakers and that's what makes me happy. It's the fact that now I don't have to go shopping and find them myself. Like literally. So that's where sometimes they can seem a little bit confusing. But whether you're in a relationship or not, when it comes to acts of service, all of these, you can find ways to get things done for you. So like, for example, have somebody go to the laundromat, drop the laundry off, pick it up, right? That could be an act of service that whether you're in a relationship or not, you can, choose to do that for yourself. So those are like really simple ways of also to delegating tasks in business or at home with children, right? That is going to be super, super helpful. If you know your love language is acts of service and you make that clear that, hey, it really means a lot to me or even just acknowledging it, like when someone is maybe doing the dishes or putting their dish away, whatever it is, make sure that they know that means a lot to you so that they understand it, kind of is giving them positive reinforcement to continue to do that. Okay. The other love language is, like I was just talking about, is receiving gifts. And so receiving gifts doesn't mean giving gifts. It means receiving gifts, right? So if you know that you like getting gifts, but you don't have a partner, here's a trick. Here's something I want you to do. Order yourself something. I mean, we probably do this already, but like if you get a package from Amazon, right? Or, you like the little things, like do that. Brighten up your day by getting yourself something that gets shipped to you. I think that's like super, super awesome, right? Or also too, it doesn't mean that like when you comes to receiving gifts, it's not that you want the most lavish, most expensive thing, right? But it's as simple as your partner brings you, I don't know. They go to the store and they find scissors, and you were talking about how you needed scissors. I don't know. They bring you scissors, but they just surprise you with like a little cookie, or they surprise you with flowers, or, and you like that, so that's important. It's not about the person giving it. It's about the fact that you enjoy receiving them. And so you need to communicate that you really do enjoy receiving gifts. And then it doesn't have to be that they're spending tons of money, but it could be really in the little things. Okay. The next is words of affirmation. So words of affirmation are pretty much what they sound. It's like, that's amazing. That's an amazing job. Thank you so much. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're intelligent. You're such a rock star. Listen, for me, and this is where I'm like, this is not me, because everyone's different, right? It's not that you might not know who you are and you're looking for validation. It's not that, right? Just some people really like to be commented on or praised, but it's not that they don't know who they are. So like at first when I heard this, I was like, well, I know who I am. I don't need someone to tell me that I did a great job. I know if I did a great job or not. But it's not really so much that. It's more so you just really like to hear, whereas like I like someone to show me their love. Some people like to hear it and say it, but obviously your actions have to follow through and it has to be genuine. But that's super important. Now, this is where, when it comes to self-love, whether you're in a relationship or not, you need to be talking to yourself in a positive way. You need to be telling yourself, great job. You need to be telling yourself like, wow, you are really struggling and you pushed through. That's something that you should be incredibly proud of. You need to tell yourself you look good. You need to tell yourself you got this. You need to tell yourself you are the most kind, compassionate, caring person that I know. You need to be the one giving yourself those words of affirmation, whether you're in a relationship or not. Okay, it's super, super important, because when you give love, right, we're feeling good, we're feeling love. We want to get love. When we give love, we get love, and it's reciprocal. And when we're in a good, happy, healthy state, then usually good, happy, healthy things happen. Okay. So words of affirmation. The next is physical touch, which I'm probably close. Physical touch and acts of service are like my really big ones, I would say, but you usually have a more dominant one, and then one that's like has like a subcategory. And you probably feel like you have a little bit of each of these, but really there's one that's more dominant than others. Also important to note that your love languages can change. It can change based off of your partnership. It can change based off the stage of your life. It can change based off of healed trauma. There's lots of things that can make it different, right? So physical touch is one that, if I get massages weekly, I would love that. That is my dream in the future. When I'm making enough doll hairs, to get weekly massages and not feel guilty about it, I will be doing that. Trust me when I say that, I will. So physical touch, but it's also more so that's the thing where you can show your self-love is giving yourself physical touch, right? But if you are someone who it makes you feel good when your partner comes over and maybe, puts their hand on your hip, or gives you a little hug from the back, or pats your butt, or puts their hands in your hair, those little things, or comes over and gives you a little kiss or a smooch or whatever, or snuggles with you, or lets you lay in their arms, or you can lay in their arms, whatever it is. You need to know that. You really do need to know that. And sometimes this can be tricky for some people. For someone who isn't really used to getting a hug, maybe their parents never hugged them or told them they loved them. And unfortunately, that's in my current situation. I am someone who enjoys physical touch, but I'm in a partnership with someone who, I always get a little stuck telling other people's stories, but he didn't get that. He didn't get love and hugs and affection. And he was incarcerated for 9 years of his life. So in those 9 years, he definitely didn't get any loves or hugs. Wasn't even allowed to, right? So that's where, that's when it comes down to in relationships, it can be a little bit more complicated. And you really need to understand, I question, and this is where, we'll learn as we go and as we grow and, in life, I question if my partner has healed from some of the things he's been through in his past, if that would be easier for him. And I think that it would be, obviously, right? So that's where things can change. And sometimes it's hard because we might have past trauma where it makes it difficult for us to show love in a way that our partner needs it. And I think that at the end of the day, you have to decide, is that person willing to do the work to heal so that you guys can be stronger? And it takes two to tango, guys, trust me. Because for example, on my end, Bruce's, my boyfriend, his love language is actually quality time. So the last one. And I am an entrepreneur. I am running a business. I have a team. I keep myself pretty busy. And then when I'm not busy, I just want to relax and recharge. And it's hard. So for me, I've had to really be mindful of where I'm spending my time and energy so that there is some left over for him. So unfortunately, he gets, he doesn't get the energetic side of me, right? Because I'm listening to people all day. I'm back to coaching some people. I'm doing meetings. I'm just attending to everyone. And then I'm taking care of, whatever needs to get taken care of, for my personal self, or even me and Bruce basically, together are helping to raise his daughter. So there's a lot. And so when it comes to giving quality of time, it's not even about we have to do fun things together. It's more so I need to be more attentive and really listen and not be so burnt out at the end of the day. And I'm definitely working on it, but that's where you have to understand, if you're not able to give love in the way that your partner wants to receive it, then you're going to need to decide if you're willing to put in the work, because ultimately you don't want to lose your partner just because you weren't speaking in the right love language, when in the reality at the core, you really do love and care for each other, right? But it's learning how to express it in a way that makes sense to them. Okay. So time. And then here's the other thing for quality time. The other thing you can do is if you're not in a relationship, make sure you're spending time with yourself, or spending quality time, maybe even with friendships, or family members, whatever is important to you, your love language, you need to know what that is. And I'll also say, I think your love language, and this is where, this is not my specialty, guys. This is me just learning from listening to things and trying and doing the own work myself. But I'm pretty sure you can have one love language with one family, a family member, but then it could be different than your spouse or your partner. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that is the case, because there's just different dynamics. But either way, you need to know what yours is at the core, I think, to really be able to communicate what your needs are. And then obviously, the different person that you're with is going to depend on their love language. So giving it is different than receiving it. But I think that this is just a good beginning to being more aware of your needs, your partner's needs. And even, like I said, and a reminder that whether you're in a relationship or not, and even when you're in a relationship, to still make sure that you are showing yourself love, right? Because you also can't depend solely on your partner to give you the love that you're looking for, the love that you need. Okay? So I'm going to wrap it there. Make sure that you are signed up for the Self-Love Book Club, where we are reviewing my book, Once Upon a Diet. Sign up. be there. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a screenshot of it, share it on your story, maybe tag me at tips_with_Tony with an I, or the Tips with Tony podcast. Share it with a friend. And please, 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 if you're not subscribed and if you haven't written a review, I would strongly encourage you to write a review, because when you do, more and more people can find the podcast, and we're spreading these beautiful messages of love and self-care. And usually what we're talking about is nutrition and balance and navigating healthy lifestyle and just all the good nuggets, everything that everybody needs to know. And the more people that listen to this, the more this world can be a happier and healthier place. All right, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.